Welcome to the third episode of Literary Lenses, where we explore the world through words, diving deep into the lives and works of some of the most influential literary figures. In today's episode, we'll be exploring the life and legacy of one of the most groundbreaking and influential writers of the 20th century, Virginia Woolf. A pioneer of modernist literature, Woolf transformed the way we think about narrative, character, and the role of the critic. Her works, such as Mrs. Dalloway, To the Lighthouse, and A Room of One's Own, have left an indelible mark on the literary landscape and continue to inspire writers and readers alike. As we delve into Woolf's biography, we'll examine her early life, family background and education, as well as her journey to becoming a celebrated author. We'll also be taking a closer look at her remarkable contributions to literary criticism, which, although sometimes overshadowed by her fiction, remain equally influential and significant. Throughout this episode, we'll discuss Woolf's innovative narrative techniques, her unyielding advocacy for women's voices in literature, and her enduring impact on the literary world. So sit back and join us as we embark on this fascinating exploration of the life and work of Virginia Woolf through the lens of literary lenses. Born into a prominent literary family, Virginia Woolf stands as a seminal figure in the history of English literature. A pioneer of modernist writing, Woolf was known for her innovative narrative techniques, her focus on the inner lives of her characters, and her deep exploration of women's experiences. While her novels and essays have long been celebrated for their distinctive style and profound insight, Woolf's works of literary criticism deserve equal attention. This biography delves into Woolf's life and career, highlighting her significant contributions to the field of literary criticism. Adeline Virginia Stephen, later known as Virginia Woolf, was born on January 25, 1882, in London, England. Her parents, Sir Leslie Stephen and Julia Prinsep Stephen, were both respected literary figures. Sir Leslie was a renowned historian, biographer and founding editor of the Dictionary of National Biography, while Julia was a celebrated beauty and a writer in her own right. Virginia was the third of their 4 children. The Stephen family was part of the intellectual and artistic elite of Victorian England. They maintained close ties with other influential thinkers, writers and artists of the time. Virginia's childhood was marked by exposure to a wealth of knowledge, culture and literature, which would later inform her own work as a writer and critic. Sadly, Virginia's upbringing was also marred by the loss of her mother in 1895, followed by the death of her half-sister Stella in 1897. These losses profoundly affected her, leading to the first of several mental breakdowns she would experience throughout her life. Despite the lack of formal schooling for women at the time, Virginia and her sister Vanessa received an exceptional education from their father, who encouraged their intellectual pursuits. Virginia became a voracious reader and showed early promise as a writer. She began writing articles and essays for various publications in her early 20s, with a focus on literary topics. In 1904, following her father's death, Virginia moved to the Bloomsbury neighbourhood in London with her siblings, where they began hosting weekly gatherings that would eventually evolve into the famed Bloomsbury Group. This informal collective of writers, artists and intellectuals included E.M. Forster, Lytton Strachey, and John Maynard Keynes, among others. The group members shared a mutual interest in the arts and engaged in lively debates about literature, politics and philosophy. In 1912, Virginia married Leonard Woolf, a writer and political theorist. The couple shared a deep intellectual connection, and Leonard became a staunch supporter of Virginia's literary career. In 1917, they founded the Hogarth Press, which published many of Virginia's works, along with those of other prominent writers, including T.S. Eliot and Catherine Mansfield. Virginia Woolf's literary career took off with the publication of her first novel, The Voyage Out, 1915. However, it was her later novels, such as Mrs. Dalloway, 1925, To the Lighthouse, 1927, and Orlando, 1928, that solidified her reputation as a trailblazer of modernist literature. Throughout her career, Woolf explored innovative narrative techniques, such as stream of consciousness and interior monologue, which allowed her to probe the psychological depths of her characters. Virginia Woolf's innovative narrative techniques have left a lasting impact on modernist literature and continue to inspire contemporary writers. Her experimental approach to storytelling broke free from traditional narrative structures and delved into uncharted territories of literary expression. Let us briefly explore the elements of Woolf's narrative style, which is celebrated by individuals throughout the world. One of Woolf's most notable techniques is her use of stream of consciousness, a narrative style that captures the continuous flow of a character's thoughts, feelings, and perceptions. By using this technique, Woolf aimed to present a more authentic representation of the human mind and its complex inner workings. In novels such as Mrs. Dalloway and To the Lighthouse, she skillfully weaves together the inner monologues of multiple characters, providing readers with a deeper understanding of their emotions, motivations, and connections to one another. Closely related to stream of consciousness, Woolf's use of interior monologue focuses on the inner thoughts and emotions of a single character, often in the form of a soliloquy. This technique allows readers to fully immerse themselves in the character's mind, experiencing their world from an intimate perspective. In her groundbreaking novel The Waves, Woolf employs a series of interconnected interior monologues to create a poetic exploration of consciousness and the passage of time. Woolf frequently manipulated time in her narratives, eschewing linear chronology in favour of a more fluid approach to storytelling. Through the use of flashbacks, memories, and shifting perspectives, she captured the complex nature of human experience and the way in which past events continue to shape our present lives. In novels like Orlando, Woolf played with the concept of time by following the protagonist's journey through several centuries, exploring themes of gender, identity, and the passage of time. Woolf's writing is rich in symbolism and evocative imagery, which she used to convey deeper meanings and emotions. Her detailed descriptions of settings, objects, and gestures often serve as metaphors for the characters' psychological states or thematic elements of the story. In To the Lighthouse, for example, the titular lighthouse represents a guiding force, a symbol of stability and a point of connection for the characters amid the turbulent sea of life. Woolf's narratives often prioritize the subjective experiences of her characters over the objective reality of their surroundings. By exploring the inner lives of her characters and their unique perspectives, Woolf highlighted the subjective nature of human experience and challenged the idea that a single objective truth exists. This focus on subjectivity allows readers to engage more deeply with Woolf's characters and encourages a greater appreciation for the diverse range of human experiences. By embracing these innovative narrative techniques, Virginia Woolf redefined the boundaries of literature and left an indelible mark on the world of storytelling. Her pioneering spirit continues to influence writers today, who seek to capture the intricacies of human experience through fresh and experimental approaches to narrative. While Woolf's novels have received much acclaim, her work as a literary critic deserves equal attention. Woolf's criticism was groundbreaking, as she not only evaluated the works of her contemporaries, but also sought to redefine the very nature of literature and the role of the critic. Her critical essays, which were published in various journals and later collected in volumes such as The Common Reader, 1925, and The Second Common Reader, 1932, demonstrate her keen understanding of literary history and her ability to engage with texts on a deep personal level. She believed that the role of the critic was not to impose a rigid set of standards upon a work, but rather to respond to it with sensitivity and empathy, allowing for a more profound understanding of the text and its author. Let us dive deeper and explore certain elements of Woolf's criticism. Woolf believed that the role of the critic was not to impose rigid standards upon a work, but rather to respond to it with sensitivity and empathy. She argued that a profound understanding of a text and its author could only be achieved by engaging with it on a personal level, allowing for the exploration of deeper meanings and connections. Woolf's essays in The Common Reader, 1925, and The Second Common Reader, 1932, exemplify this approach, as she offers insightful interpretations of various texts, while also sharing her own emotional responses to them. In her essay, Mr. Bennet and Mrs. Brown, 1924, Woolf critiques British novelist Arnold Bennett's focus on external details and conventional narrative structures, which she felt resulted in a shallow portrayal of human experience. Instead, Woolf advocated for a deeper exploration of the inner lives of characters, capturing the complexity and nuance of human thought and emotion. This essay marked a departure from traditional literary criticism, laying the groundwork for the development of modernist approaches to both writing and criticism. Woolf's literary criticism was also characterized by her emphasis on the importance of women's voices in literature. In her groundbreaking essay, A Room of One's Own, 1929, she examines the historical exclusion of women from literary history and argues that, for women to achieve their full creative potential, they must have access to financial independence and private spaces in which to write. Woolf's feminist perspective is evident in her critical engagement with the works of female authors, including Jane Austen, Charlotte Bronte and George Eliot, whom she both admired and critiqued. Woolf recognized the significance of understanding the historical and cultural context in which a work of literature was created. In her essays, she often explored the social, political and artistic milieu that influenced an author's work, enriching her interpretations and providing readers with a more comprehensive understanding of the text. This approach also highlighted the ever-evolving nature of literature and the importance of considering a work within its specific historical moment. Woolf's literary criticism invited readers to participate in an ongoing conversation about literature, encouraging them to actively engage with texts and develop their own opinions. Her writing style was accessible, thoughtful and open to multiple interpretations, inviting readers to explore the world of literature alongside her. Virginia Woolf's literary criticism has had a lasting impact on the way we approach, analyse and appreciate literature. Her empathetic personal engagement with texts, coupled with her commitment to advocating for women's voices in literature, has left an indelible mark on the field of literary criticism and continues to inspire today. Woolf continued to write prolifically throughout the 1930s, producing both fiction and non-fiction works. However, her mental health began to deteriorate, and she struggled with severe bouts of depression. On March 28, 1941, Woolf drowned herself in the River Ouse near her home in Sussex, England. Her suicide note to her husband, Leonard, expressed her deep love for him and her inability to continue living with her mental anguish. Virginia Woolf's suicide note reads, Tuesday. Dearest, I feel certain that I am going mad again. I feel we can't go through another of those terrible times. And I shan't recover this time. I begin to hear voices and I can't concentrate. So I am doing what seems the best thing to do. You have given me the greatest possible happiness. You have been in every way all that anyone could be. I don't think two people could have been happier till this terrible disease came. I can't fight any longer. I know that I'm spoiling your life, that without me you could work. And you will, I know. You see, I can't even write this properly. I can't read. What I want to say is I owe all the happiness of my life to you. You have been entirely patient with me and incredibly good. I want to say that. Everybody knows it. If anybody could have saved me, it would have been you. Everything has gone from me but the certainty of your goodness. I can't go on spoiling your life any longer. I don't think two people could have been happier than we have been. V. Despite her tragic end, Virginia Woolf's contributions to English literature and literary criticism have left an indelible mark on the literary landscape. Her innovative narrative techniques and her deep empathetic engagement with texts have inspired generations of writers and critics alike. Woolf's work has also been instrumental in shaping feminist literary theory, ensuring that her voice remains a vital part of the ongoing conversation about women's roles in literature and society. To conclude, Virginia Woolf was a visionary writer and critic who pushed the boundaries of literary form and challenged conventional ideas about the role of the critic. Her work as a literary critic emphasized the importance of an empathetic, responsive approach to texts, as well as the need for greater representation of women's voices in literature. Though her life was marked by personal tragedy and struggle, Woolf's enduring legacy as a literary innovator and champion of women's creativity continues to inspire and influence readers, writers, and critics around the world. Virginia Woolf's immense contributions to the literary world, both as a writer and critic, have shaped the way we approach, interpret, and appreciate literature. Her unique narrative techniques and her deep, empathetic engagement with texts have not only influenced generations of writers and critics, but also enriched the reading experience for countless individuals. As we continue to explore Woolf's work and its impact on modern literature, we are reminded of the power of storytelling to transcend boundaries, challenge conventions, and illuminate the rich tapestry of human experience. Woolf's enduring legacy serves as an inspiration for future generations to push the limits of their creativity and seek new ways to express the complexities of the human condition. And there you have it, dear listeners, our journey through the captivating life and works of Virginia Woolf. Thank you for allowing me to activate your senses with the enchanting world of literature as we explored the realm of this literary icon. Remember, our passion for the written word knows no bounds, and we eagerly await our next rendezvous. Until then, keep indulging in the irresistible allure of literature, and we'll meet again soon on the next episode of Literary Lenses.